Hello, erudites, and welcome back to Next Level Catch Ups 2.0 for General Biology. In today's video lesson, we'll be discussing about Lesson 9. In this lesson, it tackles what we are about to call the transport mechanisms in cells. So in the previous lesson, we discussed about the different components of the cell membrane. And aside from that, we also discussed that the cell membrane is a semi-permeable barrier. So in relation to that, our topic for today discusses how molecules get transported inside and outside of the cell and how the semi-permeable state of the cell membrane affects the transportation. So why don't we dive right into it? So in transport mechanisms, we have two types of transport mechanisms. The first one being is the passive transport. Now, the passive transport is a type of transport mechanism that does not use energy. So, um, it relies on the energy of the molecule that is being passed. So, it does not use any energy from the cell, or it does not use any energy that the cell makes to enable the transportation of the molecules. So in this first type of transport mechanism, we have different types. We also have different subtypes, and so we'll get into the specifics of that. So first up, we have what we call as diffusion. So the diffusion is a type of passive transport wherein molecules move from a high concentration to a low concentration. So dito, ginagamit niya yung natural kinetic energy niya to move from a high concentration to a low concentration. Meaning that the body, while we do produce energy, the form of ATP or adenosine triphosphate, in passive transportation, specifically for diffusion, we do not we do not use the ATP. Rather, the for the diffusion to function or for the diffusion to be carried out, it relies on the natural kinetic energy of the molecule. So in this example, in this figure in front of all of you right now, you can see that there are three beakers with varying degrees of concentration of the dye. So, dito sa unang beaker, makikita natin nilalagay pa lang yung dye. And sa pangalawang beaker, it spreads slowly until in the last beaker, nag-spread na siya completely. So, dito sa unang beaker, as we can see, so nahulog yung yung dye, nahulog yung dye. So, with the falling of the dye, syempre, magkakaroon ng energy. Doon sa energy na in-exert ni dye, pag nahulog siya dun sa water, magdi-disperse siya until it slowly fills in the gaps ng water para maging equal um, yung amount of molecules between the water and the dye. So um, this might seem like a simple concept pero mas palalaliman pa natin. So in this type of passive transportation, we have different types of diffusion as well. No, so in the first type, we have what we call as the simple diffusion. Now, the simple diffusion is a type of diffusion where micronutrients pass through the phospholipid bilayers. So, dito sa type of transport nito, it requires no energy and yung mga maliliit lang na molecules, mabilis lang silang makapass through dun sa semi-permeable barrier natin, which is the cell membrane. So, in this one, the best example for this is oxygen. So, oxygen can be very fine enough para mag-pass through lang sa phospholipid bilayer. So, in the second one, we have what we call as the facilitated diffusion. Ngayon, ang facilitated diffusion, it involves macronutrients, specifically molecules that are larger than micronutrients. Pero, despite the change in size ng mga molecules na hinahandle nito, it still does not require energy and macronutrients need since hindi sila makakalusot easily dun sa semi-permeable barrier. Kailangan nila ng parang channeling, ganon, or may transport mode of transportation sila para makapass through dun sa barrier natin. So, with that in mind, as you can see in the figure on the left side, we have the channel protein and the carrier protein. So let's discuss more about that. No? So in the facilitated transport, we have what we call as the transport chains. Now, there are two main types of transport chains. We have the channel protein. Ngayon, the channel protein is a type of integral protein that is always open. So, think of it like an open tube. So, it's always open. Ganon. It's always open. Dadaan lang si molecule para mabilis na makadaan. Dire-diretso lang siya. Isipin nyo lang para siyang tunnel. Dire-diretso lang siya. Tunnel na walang toll gate. Ganun siya. So, sa pangalawang type naman, we have the carrier protein. Ngayon, ang carrier protein, medyo mas complex siya. This is also an integral protein, but it only opens when needed. So, if you can look at the figure below, not the below, in the figure on the left side, makikita nyo parang close siya on one side and then open siya on another. So, in the figure on the left side, you can see the red dot over here. Let's pretend that this is the molecule that's entering the cell. So, papasok siya or magpapass through siya doon sa may sa cell membrane natin with an opening, a small opening dun sa carrier protein natin. Once na nandun na si molecule, magsasara ulit siya. After niyang magsara, parang lilipat siya pababa and then magkakaroon siya ng opening para ma-deliver si molecule. So, up next is what we call, as part of our passive transport, osmosis. Ngayon, osmosis is very similar to the other types of passive transport, wherein it really requires no energy, but in osmosis, it's the diffusion of water across a membrane. So, mas focus siya on mga transportation na may semi-permeable membranes such as our cells. So, in osmosis, it moves high water potential to a low water potential. And the key objective of osmosis is the achievement of homeostasis. Ngayon, in osmosis, we have three different movement types. Now, so the first one is what we call as the isotonic solution. Now, the isotonic solution is a movement of osmosis wherein there is no net water movement at all. Ibig sabihin, the water concentration inside of the cell and outside of the cell are equal. So, in this solution, ang cell natin ay in a state of homeostasis. So, in our previous discussion, we discussed about homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis is the state wherein the cell has the same amount of water or same amount of solutes inside and outside of the cell itself. So, mangyayari lang to if the amount of concentration both inside and outside of the cell are the same. So, let's move on to the next one. We have what we call as the hypotonic solution. Now, the hypotonic solution leads to cytolysis. Aside from that, the hypotonic solution focuses on high concentration of water outside of the cell compared to the inside of the cell. So, water moves inside to the cell because mas konti yung laman ng tubig ni cell. So, with that in mind, pag pumasok si tubig doon sa cell, ang nangyayari, napupuno si cell. Once na napuno si cell, may lumalaki siya. So, nagsiswell siya. The cell swells. So, once nag-swell si cell, may chance na pumutok siya, mag-burst. Now, this only happens in animal cells because we don't have the cell wall compared to plants, wherein they have cell walls to maintain their rigid structure and shape. So, pag tayo sa hypotonic solution or any other animal cell, ang nangyayari, may chance na parang mag-burst yung cells natin, ganon. Magiging overflowing siya, ganon. So for the next type and the last type of movement for osmosis, we have what we call as the hypertonic solution. Now the hypertonic solution leads to plasmolysis. Ngayon, aside from that, the hypertonic solution is mainly when the water concentration outside is less than that of the inside of the cell. Ibig sabihin, mas konti yung laman ng tubig sa labas ni cell kumpara sa loob ni cell. So, ang nangyayari dito, since the main purpose of osmosis is for us to reach homeostasis, kailangan maging balanced ni external and internal environment ni cell. So, para mangyari yon, ang nangyayari, since konti yung tubig sa labas ni cell, maglalabas si cell ng tubig. So, pag naglabas ng tubig si cell, it leads to shrinkage or lumiliit yung cell. Ibig sabihin, mawawalan tayo ng mass, ganon. Mawawalan siya ng mass since naglabas siya ng tubig. So, if we compare it all, we can see that in the isotonic solution, the water simply passes through. Parehas yung laman ng tubig inside and outside of the cell. Sa hypotonic solution naman, this is when yung water within the cell is not balanced dun sa labas ng cell, leading the water to come inside of the cell, and then it has the chance na mag-swell. Lalaki siya. So, if we compare it dito sa red blood cell, we can see that it's a disc with a bump in the middle. If we compare it to the hypotonic solution, since nag-swell up na si red blood cell, medyo nawala yung shape niya. Medyo naging malusog siya, kumbaga. Mag-overflow na siya, medyo puputok na siya, ganon. Now, if we compare it naman sa hypertonic solution wherein the water outside is less than the inside of the water, ang nangyayari kasi, since mas konti yung amount of tubig, medyo konya yan, I'm sorry, since mas konti yung tubig sa labas ng cell, kailangan maging balance, maglalabas si cell ng tubig. So, pag naglabas si cell, ang mangyayari, pag naglabas si cell ng tubig, medyo magiging unstable siya. So, since unstable na siya, mawawalan na siya ng form tulad as compared dun sa isotonic solution. Pag naglabas na siya ng tubig, tapos naging unstable siya, may chance na ma-deform siya, tapos liliit siya. So, that's it for the passive transport. As for the last part of our two types of transport mechanisms of a cell, we have the active transportation. Now, the active transportation is a type of transport mechanism which involves the use of energy, or in the case of us, we use ATP or adenosine triphosphate. Ngayon, aside from that, this molecule moves against the concentration gradient. What does that mean? So, tulad nga ng sinasabi ko kanina, passive transportation does not require energy because it follows the concentration gradient. And what is the concentration gradient? The concentration gradient is from a high amount of concentration, magiging low amount. So, para mangyayari yon, so magdi-disperse para maging equal, maging balanced yung disbursement, yung concentration, gano'n. So, yun yung normal concentration gradient, na normal flow ng concentration gradient from a high concentration to a low concentration. So, for active transport, ginagamitan ito ng energy. So, bakit ba siya ginagamitan ng energy? So, if we look at the figure over here, makita natin low concentration si outside, si inside naman ay high concentration. So, pagpapasok siya, since lalabanan natin si concentration gradient, kailangan natin ng energy. So, if we put it into an example, or we compare it to a real-life situation, for those na marunong lumangoy, kasi ako hindi ako marunong lumangoy eh. For those na marunong lumangoy, ang concentration gradient natin ay parang alon ng tubig. So, sa passive transportation, sinusundan ni passive transportation yung alon ng tubig. Dito naman sa active transportation, nilalabanan niya yung alon ng tubig. So, pag nilalabanan natin yung alon ng tubig, di ba syempre kailangan natin maglabas ng energy, mag-exert ng energy para malagpasan si alon ng tubig. Kasi pag hindi tayo nag-exert ng energy, hindi tayo nagbigay ng effort, ano nangyayari parang baliwala lang, ganun. Susundan pa rin natin yung alon ng tubig. So, the same case occurs here. Kailangan ng energy para labanan si concentration gradient. Ngayon, aside from that, think of it as entering a crowd of people. So, mas madali, di ba? Mas madali pag ang nangyayari is from a big pool of people, unti-unti pabawas kayo ng pabawas, ganun, no? Para mag-pass through kayo. So, a big area to a small area. Parang mas madali kayong maglakad. Imbis na from a big crowd, paliit kayo ng paliit, no? So, the same occurs here. Sa active transportation, ang nangyayari is you're entering a big crowd eh. So, pag you're going to pass through a big crowd, kailangan mo mag-exert ng energy, makikipag-ano ka, di ba? Makipagsikuan ka pa nga minsan eh, parang nasa palengke ka. So, parang mula dun sa maluwag, may pagsiksikan ka para makadaan. So, para makadaan, kailangan mo magtulak ng mga tao, kung ginagawa niyo yun, magtutulak ka ng onte, makikipagsikuan ka, compared sa galing ka sa maraming tao, tapos palabas ka na. So, pag palabas ka na dun sa area na yon, para mas madali, kasi unti-unti, parang pakunti ng pakunti, pabawas ng pabawas, ibig sabihin wala ka ng lalabanan. As compared as galing ka sa maluwag, tapos papasok ka sa masikip, kailangan may lalabanan kang force. So, the same thing happens sa active transportation. So, you need to exert more energy since mas crowded yung area. So, enough of me blabbering and yapping. Let's move on to the generalization. So, generally, we have two types of transportation in the cell. We have the passive transportation, which includes the different types of diffusion. And then we also have the active transportation, which is the transportation wherein it uses energy para makapag-pass through si molecules from the outside to the inside of the uh, cell membrane and vice versa. So, that's it for us in lesson 9, erudites. I hope to see you next video lesson because ako pa rin magtuturo ng lesson 10. So, catch our next video lesson, erudites, and see you next.